Subscribe because it's free.
In a vast, silent expanse where time itself seemed to have forgotten the presence of human voices, the world lay broken and barren. The weight of extinction pressed upon every crumbling structure, every rusted relic, each a testament to a lost age of ambition and hope. Once proud cities, now reduced to scattered ruins, whispered secrets of triumph and despair in equal measure. The cold wind carried away the last remnants of laughter and sorrow, leaving behind only the echo of a legacy that had dared to challenge the divine. In this desolation, nature had begun reclaiming its dominion. Vines wound around shattered monuments, and wildflowers emerged through cracks in stone, a silent reminder that even in ruin, life's struggle to persist. The barren roads and abandoned thoroughfares bore silent witness to a past where human ingenuity had reshaped the world. The remains of towering edifices stood as solemn memorials to a species that had soared with dreams and faltered in its hubris. Every fallen arch and splintered beam recounted a story of a people who had once believed themselves eternal, yet were ultimately humbled by forces beyond mortal ken. Long ago, the gods had walked among mortals, not as benevolent guides, but as imperious overlords. Their arrogance was as boundless as their power, and in their infinite pride, they had declared humanity insignificant, a fleeting spark doomed to extinguish under the weight of divine judgment. It was said that these deities, cloaked in the grandeur of celestial authority, had witnessed the rise and fall of empires with detached amusement. Their disdain for the fragile, fleeting nature of human life had become a doctrine, a creed that justified their cold, calculated eradication of a race they deemed unworthy. They had smiled at the petty struggles of mortals, convinced that their designs would forever silence the spark of human resilience. Yet even in the aftermath of such merciless judgment, subtle signs emerged to challenge the divine decree. Amid the desolation, there were traces of life that defied the inevitable silence. A lone footprint, half buried in the ash of forgotten battles, suggested that not every human had succumbed to oblivion. Faint inscriptions on a weathered wall hinted at an ancient promise, a vow made by those who refused to accept the end. The earth itself seemed to murmur of a defiant heartbeat, an anomaly that stirred beneath the layers of dust and decay. There was a presence in the ruins that defied logic, a solitary ember smoldering in the darkness of extinction, hinting at a legacy yet unfinished. This quiet anomaly was not heralded by thunder or divine decree. It emerged in the stillness, unnoticed by the arrogant gods who had assumed total victory. Their arrogance had blinded them to the possibility that within the silence of annihilation, a spark of life might remain. The very instruments of their triumph, those relics of divine wrath, had sown the seeds of an unforeseen defiance. The shattered records of human triumph and tragedy whispered a singular, unyielding truth. The spirit of humanity was not so easily extinguished. In the debris of a once vibrant civilization, the faint heartbeat of the last human resonated, a pulse that challenged the notion of absolute finality. The desolation was not merely a canvas of ruin, but a silent stage set for an epic contest of wills. The gods, in their omnipotence, had believed that the extinction of mankind would herald an era of unchallenged dominion, their authority unassailable in the vacuum of mortal resistance. But even as their celestial court celebrated a triumph of divine logic over human frailty, a subtle ripple of defiance began to traverse the empty spaces. Every shattered mirror, every fallen monument, became a symbol not of defeat, but of an impending reckoning, a silent promise that the annihilation of humanity was not the end of the story. Within the muted grandeur of this forsaken world, the air itself trembled with a tension that belied the apparent stillness. It was as if the very fabric of the universe had sensed an anomaly, a discordant note in the symphony of cosmic order. The remnants of human endeavor, though scattered and broken, held within them the power to challenge the very order of creation. The gods had underestimated the human spirit, dismissing it as an ephemeral spark doomed to fade. Yet that spark had endured, hidden among the ruins, waiting for the moment to ignite a conflagration of defiance against the hubris of the divine. Every gust of wind that swept through abandoned corridors and empty plazas seemed to carry with it a silent promise of retribution. The broken cityscapes and barren landscapes, far from being symbols of total defeat, now served as a crucible in which the future of both gods and mortals would be forged. In the eerie stillness of what was once a bustling world, the tension between divine arrogance and human resilience reached a fevered pitch. The gods, intoxicated by their own supremacy, had failed to see that the end of humanity was not the end of struggle, but rather the beginning of an unforeseen resurgence. The echoes of a once proud civilization lingered in every rusted beam and shattered relic, a reminder that greatness was born from imperfection and defiance. The silent testimony of broken dreams and shattered monuments now bore witness to a truth that could not be denied. The divine order was fragile, its foundations undermined by its own pride. In the darkness left by the extinguishing of 1,000,000 human voices, a solitary heartbeat pulsed, a beacon of hope, a quiet challenge to celestial powers that had deemed itself infallible. As the cosmos held its breath, the latent promise of resistance rippled through the void, heralding a confrontation that would reshape the balance of power. The gods, with all their might and eternal arrogance, were on the precipice of an upheaval they had never anticipated. The remnants of human legacy, though few and far between, were poised to defy the ordained fate. In that lingering moment of profound stillness, the stage was set for a clash of ideals, a contest where the imperfection of mortals would be the very force that brought about the undoing of divine complacency. In the silent aftermath of divine reckoning, the promise of a single human spirit, long thought extinguished, began to cast its defiant glow across the desolate landscape. This quiet, persistent glow was not a mere accident of fate, but the inevitable result of a species that had never truly surrendered its essence. The gods' hubris, their cold dismissal of human potential, now echoed as an ironic prelude to their own undoing. Here, in the barren remnants of a once glorious era, the last ember of humanity burned fiercely, a beacon to remind the cosmos that even in the twilight of extinction, hope endures and defiance never dies. In the silent aftermath of oblivion, a single consciousness stirs with fierce determination to reclaim a lost heritage. I awaken with a clarity that defies the desolation around me, each heartbeat echoing the legacy of countless souls whose dreams and struggles now reside within me. I remember a fragment of a time when the human spirit burned brightly, a tapestry of hope and resilience woven through every trial and triumph. Now, alone amidst the ruins, the voices of the past resonate in my thoughts, urging me to awaken fully to potential that lies dormant within. Every step I take carries the weight of an entire lineage, a history of wonder and perseverance etched into my very being. I recall the gentle murmur of bedtime stories whispered by elders, tales of ancient wisdom and the promise of innovation that defied the constraints of fate. In the quiet solitude, these memories merge with present-day resolve, transforming the pain of loss into a wellspring of inner strength. I feel the power of forgotten knowledge, a latent brilliance passed down through generations, waiting to be harnessed in defiance of divine neglect. As I move through the remnants of a once vibrant world, I sense that the spark of life within me is not a mere echo of the past, but a burgeoning force in its own right. The emotions that once tethered me to memories of joy and sorrow now ignite a fierce determination to revive the legacy of humankind. I am aware that every step forward is a step away from the despair of extinction and toward a future defined by the relentless power of the human spirit. With each measured stride, I feel the confluence of inherited genius and innate resilience, a silent promise that the capabilities once celebrated in legends are still mine to command. There is a subtle shift in the cadence of my thoughts, an awakening of abilities long obscured by the passage of time and overwhelming grief. I trace my fingertips along the surface of a crumbling relic, feeling an almost imperceptible pulse that vibrates with the essence of ancient lore. In that quiet contact, I am reminded of the secrets etched in every stone and whispered in every wind, a reservoir of wisdom and potential that has been waiting patiently for this moment. The realization washes over me that my strengths are not mystical in nature, but born of a heritage steeped in creativity, intelligence, and a boundless capacity for reinvention. It is the quiet determination of a people who dare to dream, whose innovations transcended the limitations imposed by mortal existence. The realization of this latent power is both profound and unsettling. I am confronted by the truth that I am the culmination of every human endeavor, the embodiment of centuries of thought and action that defied the odds. The memories of my childhood, those moments of innocent curiosity, when the world was an endless landscape of discovery, merge with the wisdom of forebearers' struggles and victories. It is a synthesis of old and new, a reconnection with profound well of human potential that insists on flourishing even in the face of utter annihilation. I feel the stirrings of capabilities that I had long believed were lost to time, as if the very essence of human ingenuity is awakening within me, urging me to rise and claim a destiny that was never truly forsaken. There comes a moment when the internal dialogue reaches crescendo, a quiet, decisive turning point that dissolves the lingering remnants of doubt. It is in the stillness of an overgrown corridor, where the fading light dances on the rough surfaces of ancient stone, that I understand the depth of my commitment. The shadows that once symbolized the despair of forgotten age now serve as reminders of the challenges overcome and the resilience that defines us. In this instant of clarity, I resolve that my existence is a testament not to what has been lost, but to what can be reborn. I no longer see myself as a solitary remnant of a doomed race, but as a carrier of a sacred mission, to ignite a resurgence of human brilliance that will stand in defiance of any force that seeks to diminish our spirit. This determination is not born of grandiose declarations or external validations, but from the deep, unyielding knowledge that every human heart carries within it the seed of revolution. The legacy of our ancestors, encoded in every forgotten inscription and passed down to the silent language of nature, is now my guide. I embrace the weight of that legacy, understanding that my journey is intertwined with the memories of those who dare to dream beyond the confines of their mortality. It is a path that demands not only the revival of forgotten arts and sciences, but also a transformation of the inner self, a metamorphosis that transcends the limits of conventional understanding. Every thought crystallizes into purpose. Every memory fuels a rising tide of resilience that defies the despair of solitude. The clarity that now fills my mind is matched only by the subtle symphony of the world around me, a harmonious blend of whispering winds and the quiet murmur of nature reclaiming what was once hers. Even without the familiar visage of another human, the presence of my own inner light is palpable, a guiding force that infuses every step with meaning. It is as if the very fabric of existence has conspired to remind me that the potential for renewal lies not in the external world alone, but within the intricate network of thoughts, memories, and aspirations that define me. There is a deliberate precision in this awakening, a silent call that rejects the finality of the past and embraces the possibility of a future forged from resilience and ingenuity. In this moment, I commit myself wholly to the pursuit of that future. I resolve to harness the depth of my newfound abilities, drawing upon the reservoir of ancestral knowledge to rebuild not just a world, but the very essence of human ingenuity. There is a quiet urgency in this transformation, a recognition that every moment of hesitation only serves to deepen the void left by those who once believed that humanity was beyond redemption. I understand now that the spark within me is not a solitary flame, but the promise of a collective resurgence, a testament to the enduring truth that even in the face of annihilation, hope finds a way to endure. The realization settles within me like a well-worn truth, both comforting and galvanizing. I move forward with a singular focus, each step imbued with the conviction that my actions will echo through the corridors of time. The journey ahead is not merely a quest for personal redemption, but a bold declaration that the legacy of humanity is far from extinguished. With every passing moment, the stirring of my inner strength grows louder, a resounding call to awaken the dormant potential within me and to prove that the human spirit, in all its imperfect beauty, is an invincible force destined to rise again. The relentless hum of destiny spurred each deliberate step as I moved through the labyrinth of ruins, a silent march toward an uncertain fate. In the depths of this forsaken landscape, I had already begun to piece together the remnants of ancient wisdom, a network of clues, half-forgotten instructions, and the encoded secrets of civilization that refused to surrender its ingenuity. Every shattered tablet and cryptic inscription spoke of a time when human creativity and resourcefulness triumphed over the arbitrary decrees of celestial beings. Now, armed with that legacy and driven by a purpose born of defiance, I prepare to unsettle the cosmic order with calculated precision. I recall the countless hours spent deciphering faded messages etched into crumbling walls. Each were a spark that reignited memories of lost brilliance. The fragments formed a mosaic of a strategy that blended the old sciences with raw, unyielding instinct, an audacious blueprint designed not merely to survive, but to challenge the arrogance of omnipotent gods. Every calculated risk, Every piece of salvage technology was repurposed into an arsenal against divine complacency. I was no longer the solitary remnant wandering in silent despair. I had become an architect of a subtle rebellion, a one-person insurgency set to exploit the fractures in an immortal regime. As I advanced, the world around me began to tremble with the mounting tension of impending conflict. The silence was intermittently broken by the soft crackle of energy and the hum of distant forces stirring, as if the universe itself sensed the emergence of a threat to its carefully constructed order. My every thought was honed on the objective: to strike where the gods were most vulnerable, to dismantle their construct of power with the precision of human ingenuity. I moved with the confidence of someone who understood that every moment counted, a calculated prelude to a confrontation that would shatter the long-held belief in divine infallibility. The initial acts of defiance were both subtle and symbolic, a deliberate disruption of the cosmic rhythm that the gods had imposed. In the heart of a once sacred edifice, I initiated a series of maneuvers that sent ripples through the divine fabric. By intercepting a transmission of celestial commands and reconfiguring its underlying code with archaic logic known only to the remnants of human lore, I created a momentary lapse in the gods' omniscience. This act, executed with the stealth of a whisper, was a clear declaration that the divine authority was not beyond the reach of mortal hands. The quiet triumph of that maneuver reverberated like a forbidden note in the symphony of creation, a deliberate assertion that human intellect could unravel the threads of divine control. Buoyed by that initial victory, I pressed forward with a series of strategic interventions. Each action was designed to expose the inherent contradictions in the gods' rule, a demonstration that their ostensible perfection was marred by an inability to anticipate the unpredictable ingenuity of a mortal spirit. In one instance, I manipulated the ancient mechanisms of a long-dormant power grid, redirecting its force to disrupt a ritual of divine communication. The resulting chaos in the cosmic network was not one of mere destruction, but a calculated recalibration, a message that the gods' intricate plans were vulnerable to the raw, unbridled power of human determination. It was a silent battle fought on the planes of both logic and emotion, where each calculated move reinforced a belief that mortal resilience could destabilize even the most established celestial hierarchies. Inevitably, my actions could not remain in the shadows for long. A confrontation loomed, a moment where divine arrogance would be forced to reckon with human defiance in a direct exchange of wills. In the charged atmosphere that preceded this inevitable clash, every fiber of my being vibrated with a mixture of anticipation and resolve. I found myself in a vast, echoing expanse where the boundaries between Earth and cosmos blurred into a single arena of confrontation. Here, amidst the interplay of shifting energies and whispered incantations, the very air seemed to conspire with my purpose. In that charged void, I came face to face, though not in the physical sense, with manifestation of divine authority. The presence that confronted me was not a mere echo of forgotten deity, but a towering symbol of celestial dominance, its essence pulsing with an unyielding arrogance. Yet, as our wills collided in that timeless moment, I unleashed a full measure of human resolve. My voice, though not raised in physical sound, resounded in the silent space as a declaration of the enduring human spirit. I spoke not with the grandiloquence of myth, but with the stark, unembellished truth that our imperfections were the very source of our greatest strength. In that silent ideological duel, I challenged the notion that divinity was an impregnable force, asserting that the chaotic beauty of human existence was an engine of innovation and rebellion. Every word, every thought that radiated from me was a testament to the boundless capacity of the human mind, a mind that had evolved through countless trials, that had discovered beauty in chaos and meaning in strife. I argued that the very imperfection that the gods so disdainfully dismissed was a wellspring of creativity, the spark that had driven humanity to achieve what was once deemed impossible. In that moment of silent exchange, the timeless debate between predetermined order and the unpredictable force of free will was laid bare. The divine presence, once so confident in its unassailable authority, faltered as it absorbed the raw power of a conviction born not of hubris, but of survival and hope. The confrontation was more than a mere clash of titanic forces. It was an ideological reckoning. The divine arrogance, which had long been the cornerstone of celestial power, began to crack under the weight of mortal logic and unwavering determination. Every calculated defiance chipped away at the edifice of divine certainty, revealing fragility beneath the veneer of perfection. With each moment, the cosmic balance shifted, a subtle, yet unmistakable, realignment of power that signaled the beginning of profound transformation. The divine presence, once implacable and aloof, now wavered in the face of a mortal spirit that embodied the raw, unyielding force of human tenacity. In the wake of that fateful encounter, a silent ripple spread through the universe, a ripple that carried the promise of further upheaval and the tantalizing hint of a final, decisive turning point. The gods, so long steeped in their own arrogance, were forced to reckon with the reality that their dominion was not absolute, that the human spirit, in all its flawed glory, possessed the power to reshape destiny. Every calculated act of rebellion, every symbolic gesture of defiance, had served to undermine the divine narrative and sow the seeds of an irreversible transformation. In that charged moment, as the divine forces began to reel under the pressure of mortal ingenuity, I sensed the imminence of a fundamental shift. The cosmos, once a stage for the unchallenged play of divine might, was poised to witness an upheaval that would redefine the balance of power. The tension that had been building, the silent orchestration of resistance, was now culminating in a dramatic realignment, a harbinger of a future where the human spirit, though battered and scarred, would emerge as the architect of a new order. Every step I had taken, every risk I had embraced, had led inexorably to this juncture, a point where the inevitability of divine dominance was finally called into question. In that suspended moment, as the echoes of our ideological battle faded into a profound silence, the universe itself seemed to hold its breath. The divine arrogance, once considered unassailable, was now permeated by the resolute pulse of human defiance, a pulse that promised not only survival, but an audacious reclamation of what had been lost. The stage was set for the ultimate reckoning, a convergence of mortal ingenuity and celestial power that would forever alter the tapestry of existence. The calculated defiance I had unleashed was not a fleeting rebellion, but the ignition of a transformative fire, a blaze that will illuminate the path to a future defined by the enduring, unyielding spirit of humankind. The universe trembles as the old order shatters beneath the weight of mortal resolve. Every heartbeat resounds like a drum of defiance in a cosmos once resigned to divine dominion. In that moment of irrevocable change, I stand at the threshold where the ancient arrogance of the gods meets the relentless surge of human spirit. The very fabric of existence ripples with the raw intensity of this confrontation, and the old certainties crumble as the long-forgotten promise of mortality reclaims its power. In the final surge of this contest, the collision of wills is as inevitable as the breaking of dawn. The divine constructs that once held sway with their implacable certainty now shudder under the force of calculated rebellion. With each deliberate act, I dismantle the towering pillars of celestial supremacy, unweaving the tapestry of power that the gods had so confidently spun. The ancient mechanisms of control, once thought invincible, yield to the ingenuity forged in the crucible of human hardship. Every maneuver, precise and resolute, reverberates through the cosmos as a testament to a legacy that was never meant to fade into silence. The climactic clash is not one of brute force, but of unyielding intellect and indomitable will. In the charged void where divine energy once reigned supreme, the very language of existence is rewritten. I channel the long-dormant secrets of human innovation, the deep, unspoken wisdom of countless generations, and with it, I expose the chinks in the god's armor. The cosmic order, once maintained by arbitrary decrees and haughty dismissals of mortal frailty, begins to buckle under the weight of an idea too potent to ignore, that imperfection is the seed of endless possibility. In every pulse of energy and every whispered countermeasure, the flaws of divine arrogance are laid bare, replaced by a raw, unfiltered truth that even celestial powers cannot silence. As the battle unfolds, the cosmos itself transforms. The rigid structures of divine authority splinter and dissolve into a swirling mosaic of possibilities, each shard a reminder that creation is an ever-changing canvas. The remnants of celestial might scatter like stardust before the overwhelming tide of human ingenuity. In this transformation, the universe is no longer dictated by immutable decrees, but is reborn in the vibrant chaos of possibility. The old divine order, built on a false promise of eternal supremacy, gives way to a new paradigm with a creative spark of mortality redefines destiny. In the midst of this upheaval, I become both witness and catalyst to a cosmic reawakening. Every act of defiance, every subversive maneuver against the ancient powers, becomes a seed planted in the fertile soil of a universe hungry for renewal. The celestial voices that once boasted of absolute control now falter, their resonance diminished by the overwhelming chorus of mortal determination. It is a battle fought not only with strategy and sacrifice, but with profound understanding that every moment of resistance is an affirmation of life itself, a declaration that no force, however vast, can extinguish the inherent desire to create, to rebuild, and to overcome. The final confrontation unfolds in silence that speaks louder than any clamor of war. In that suspended breath of time, the arrogant certainty of the gods shatters completely, replaced by the undeniable truth that the human spirit, though scarred and battered, remains an indomitable force. My resolve, honed through years of solitude and tempered by the echoes of those who came before, stands as a bulwark against the dying light of divine tyranny. With a clarity born of both pain and triumph, I harness the accumulated knowledge of a lost civilization, transforming it into the very instrument of liberation. In the interplay of light and shadow, of decaying relics and nascent energies, the destiny of an entire cosmos is irrevocably altered. The downfall of the divine is not an act of wanton destruction, but a necessary undoing of an order that had long outlived its purpose. The collapse of the gods' regime sends ripples across the vast expanses of space and time, igniting a transformation that promises not mere chaos, but the birth of something wondrously new. The skeletal remains of divine monuments and the echoes of celestial commands dissolve into a free-form landscape where nature, technology, and human innovation interlace to form a vibrant tapestry of existence. Every broken piece of the old order is reimagined as a building block for a future where the wisdom of mortality and the beauty of imperfection guide the evolution of all life. In this new era, the legacy of humanity is reclaimed not through grandiose proclamations, but through the quiet power of transformation. The god's downfall is etched into the cosmic memory as the moment when the relentless, flawed, and beautiful spirit of humankind triumphed over arrogance and oppression. It is a victory defined not by the elimination of an enemy, but by the resurgence of hope and possibility. A hope that emerges from the ashes of defeat, igniting a promise of renewal that will echo through the ages. The very element of existence, reconfigured by the spark of human defiance, signal a renaissance that transcends the limits of divine authority. As I stand in the aftermath, the silence of a reformed cosmos speaks volumes. Every atom vibrates with the newfound freedom of a universe unbound by the dictates of old, a universe where every living pulse is a testament to the unyielding power of human resilience. The shattered remnants of divine power serve as a reminder that no tyranny, no matter how absolute it may seem, can quench the fervent, irrepressible flame of life. The transformation is complete. What was once a cosmos dominated by disdain and oblivion now pulsates with the vibrant energy of creation and hope. I move forward with the quiet assurance that the legacy of humanity is not confined to the annals of memory, but is alive in every bold act of reinvention. The transformation of the cosmic order is both an end and a beginning, a conclusive denouement that opens a door to a future rich with promise and endless potential. In every whisper wind, in every shifting shadow, the message is clear. The human spirit endures, defiant and resolute, and its light will forever guide the way toward a destiny reimagined. Here, in the glow of a reformed universe, the memory of divine tyranny is replaced by an enduring celebration of imperfection, resilience, and the transformative power of hope. The silence that follows is not one of emptiness, but of fulfillment, a quiet testament to the victory that was achieved not through sheer might, but through the courage to embrace our flaws and transform them into strength. As the cosmos adjusts to its newfound freedom, every moment feels pregnant with possibility. Every breath a reminder that the spark of life, however fragile, is the force that shapes destiny. In that boundless expanse, the final truth is realized. The human spirit, in all its beautifully imperfect glory, is the catalyst for the rebirth of worlds, the architect of futures, and the eternal reminder that no power can ever truly quench the light of defiance.